Yeah, sure. I don't even care anymore. That's where I'm at, man. Fuck this shit.
This is gonna be fun.
Oh, it's so much fun. Right,
Ah,
people? Is it fun? There we go.
Elegant weapon, but a more civilized age.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to An Elegant Weapon, episode 381. My name is Jay, J.M. Clark, Jay the Jedi Ross, Ross Jedi Jay the Wandering Jedi. And it is so wonderful to have all you kids back here with me in the Smoking Pod studio. We's a hanging out. We's a hanging out with the Boba Fett, ladies and gentlemen. Boba Fett's hanging around tonight because we're going to talk some shit. There's probably going to be some Star Wars shit that goes down. It's been a little bit since me and Bab talked the Star Wars. It has not been a little bit since he's been on the show. Frequent guest over the past few weeks or months or 2 months. I don't know. Time just kind of blurs all together nowadays. So it's kind of hard to tell. But we got him right back here. Him and his lonesome. Last time you were here, I believe, was with Dirk and Drina, was it?
yes, it was. We were talking about broken gargoyles. It was just hitting shelves, I think, or hitting previews world. So that was fun.
Yeah, that was like our editing special. We went
Yeah.
on about editing.
Telling people to go out and get editors. To edit
Editors are important. Kids, of course, you hear behind us the beautiful lucid tunes of the Slackers. Rock and roll, Jamaican music for your friends. Check them out. Bandcamp, the Slackers, Spotify, iTunes, all them good places. This is Ska Bohem. It's off of, I don't know if it's Ska Bohem or Ska Bohem. It's one of the two, but either way, I'll have to ask Dave. Ask one of the guys. But thank you to Dave and the guys, because this is the groove you're going to hear us coming into from now on. It's available on the Boss Harmony sessions. And you all should get familiar with the Slackers because they are the single greatest band to ever exist in the history of the world. And, you know, it's my show, so that's the belief we're going to go with. But, yeah, no, if you like old school, soulful Motown-like ska music, the Slackers are the band for you. But either way, we're going to quiet that out. And we're going to welcome Bob Salley to the show. Anybody watching who is not familiar with the Bob Salley, Bob is a writer. Comic book writer extraordinaire, mainly under the Source Point Press umbrella, but you've done a few other things. You had to come from somewhere, and it's great to have you back on the show, Bob.
Always a pleasure to be on your show. At this point, even if nobody's watching, it's just nice to chat with you.
Yes, isn't it beautiful? Yeah, it's so good because I miss you all
Because
so
we don't go to
much.
conventions anymore.
Well,
We're not hanging out at a bar.
Okay, look, let's not take that route because we always do that on this show. That's part of the reason my brain broke and I don't give a fuck anymore. So there are people watching. Welcome to our Don't Give a Fuck session. It's the way things are rolling nowadays. You are the first American I have spoken vocally to since all the shit went down.
Yeah.
How's the vibe in Boston? What's going on out there?
Boston's been pretty much a red zone for a while. Just it's cases. I think today was 1,800 cases, or no. So they reportedly had 1,800 new cases yesterday, 2,000 new cases the day before.
Good Christ.
So I mean, you're driving to work every morning and you hear those numbers and you just kind of dread because you're just like, we're gonna go back into another shutdown.
See, I hear those numbers and it's terrifying because, I mean, Boston and Toronto are definitely comparable cities. And Toronto, as much as it's a hot zone right now and it's probably the worst of the areas, it's still nowhere near that, I don't think.
Yeah. Well,
but how's the election vibe? How's the election vibe in Boston?
God, that was like watching the end of Return of the Jedi. It was just, there was celebration on the forest moon of Endor. Coruscant, they were, just popping bottles. Like, it was just awesome, you know. I mean, and it spoke to, you know, what the American people want, and what the majority of the American people want was change. And you know, I
Dude,
don't
it
want to get
spoke
too
to the
much into
world,
it because
man. There were
I've already
parties.
I've posted things already on Facebook, and like in the comments, people say things, and I'm just like, thank you for saying that. Unfriend you. Like it's, you know, but it's like, you know, it's scary too, because, you know, you don't know what the future holds. Like, I think that Donald Trump, for as much as, you know, people will say like, well, you know, he did great for the economy, this and that, but he's done a lot of dangerous things for democracy. And now he's like, you know, no pun intended, but he's throwing down his Trump card by saying, you know, I'm not accepting this, and he's not conceded. So, you know, it's just scary to think of like what the future is going to be. So I think on one hand, it's like awesome, you know, like seeing somebody who doesn't make it to their second term, you know, basically that's the American people saying like, you know, you failed.
Yeah.
So seeing that happen, and seeing like the record number of people that got out and voted for Biden was amazing.
I
But at the
think,
same
although,
time,
if all this gets cleared up, I'm hopeful because of the parties and the celebration and the big deal that's been made all over the world. Like there were parties in London, like everybody was freaking out, right? Like America, like everyone was so happy for
well, and that's the
America
amazing
and
thing
for
is
the
like,
world, right?
sorry to interrupt, but like I've never really paid attention to a lot of international things like this. And I had friends of mine that are from other countries where they were like saying like, you know, we were watching, like our country was watching this.
Yeah.
And you know, I think that itself like says like what he was to not just America, but to the world in general. So
I
sure,
think
I'll get
now
you.
that as much as a lot of people are like, well, now we've got the lesser of two evils and crazy old Joe and this, and that, I think whoever is president now is going to be forced into a main goal of unification. You know what I mean? They're going to, unlike ever before, it feels like, you know, Biden's biggest problem now, his biggest pressure is going to be having to somehow at least bring it back to where it was somewhat civil,
Right.
because
And I
it's
think like when you
just,
say like the lesser of two evils, you know, I always looked at it where when Trump was taking office, he hired people he surround himself with people that, you know, could help him make decisions. But then when they said something that he didn't like, he fired them and
yeah,
brought somebody else in.
yeah.
So I think like with Biden, like being a politician, a seasoned politician, he's going to hire people and he's going to listen to what they say. He's going to take
Dude,
their
he's already got
advice.
all his cabinets picked out, like
Exactly.
2,000
So I
people.
think
And they're
that in
all like the
itself
best of
is
the best.
a
Yeah.
better way to go. So
Because
yeah.
right now it's like I feel like all of America is like Tatooine.
Yeah.
You know, forgive my punny segue, but it's like really, it's like lawless and like just
It's crazy.
everything happening everywhere in a maddening way that's hard
Yeah.
to sort out, you know?
There was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There was shootings in Boston.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's just, you know, and I think it's like we're desensitized to this now. You know, like it's you hear about it, and you know, but you know, it's like I don't know if you watch Saturday Night Live or whatever, but it's like, you know, what Dave Chappelle said. He's like, you think about COVID and everything. He's like, when was the last time you heard about a school shooting? You know,
Yeah,
so
people aren't even talking about this
they're not,
crap
yeah,
anymore.
because they're not, yeah, people are home. So, but you know, shootings and all of that, it just seems like it's just all normal now.
You know what? At least whatever comes of this, at least things are getting shaken up. It's almost like, okay, we have something like new and interesting to focus on, because it's
Yeah.
just, it felt like it was just nothing but COVID Trump for like the past 18 years, man. And I'm
Yeah,
glad
you're
now
from
at least.
Canada, you know, like you're Canadian.
See, here's the thing though about us and what Canada's going through right now. And you know, I don't think a lot of my American friends really kind of appreciate what we're going through over here right now, because we went into a hard lockdown and haven't really ever fully come out, especially to the extent that you guys have.
Right.
We have all been masked up for so long. We have all been cooped up for so long. we're broken into these zones now where rather than shut everywhere down, they're like certain areas and certain regions are being considered hot zones, and they're going back to like modified stage 2s and stuff. So they're constantly playing with things. Like, luckily testing and tracing is good enough now. We don't really need to go into a full shutdown, but things are still messed up enough in certain areas that, people are like quarantined away. And because Canadians have taken this really seriously for so long now, you can see the cabin fever effect. You can see the depression effect.
Oh my God, yeah.
Like Americans it feels like the American folks I know are a lot just more frustrated and angry, and they're more quick to say fuck it and go do whatever. But, a lot of the people I know also have had things to focus on, right? And like, especially, everybody involved with Source Point and everything going on. But here, there's no nothing. There's no shows. There's no places to go. There's, even a lot of restaurants are going back to having less people inside. It's just, there's nothing to do here. And it's really, really getting to people. And Canadians are depressed right now, man, across the board. They are really, it's not a angry frustration. It's a bummed out depression, because we won't give up. Like, Canadians are in this for the long haul, and they knew it from the beginning. And now they're getting to a point where there's getting a little wacky, and I can feel it all around me, man, in my friends, in the public. It's a weird thing, but it's like we're intent on sticking through this and getting to a good point,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
But,
get there.
it's Canada. We kind of just shut up and take it, right?
Yeah, you've been taking it from us Americans.
Taking it for long enough. Bob Salley, did you, of course you did. You watched The Mandalorian.
Brad, thanks for joining us.
What?
We got Brad Ccclxxi.
Isn't it Geisha?
Is that
Brad,
it?
I've always pronounced it Geisha.
Yeah, I'm horrible pronouncing stuff.
That's all right. What, are you on your page there? Are you reading your comments over on
I'm reading
Bob
on,
Salley's
I think I'm reading on
Salvagers,
yours.
Broken Gargoyles, Ogres Extravaganza? On mine?
I think
What do you mean?
I'm watching you. I'm looking at my phone. I'm watching the Elegant Weapon.
I'm
all
not
right, so
seeing
listen,
any
let's just
comments.
cut to
Oh,
it,
there
right?
it is.
Yeah,
It is.
let's
See,
cut to
now
it.
he's commenting on the thingy. I don't see who's watching. I just see that people, a certain amount
Let's
of
talk
viewing.
about the Mandalorian.
See, it is Geisha. I told you it was Gish. Now I'm trying to say it different. I got it right, and I'm saying it different.
Let's talk about the Mandalorian season 2.
God damn it, yes.
The first 2 episodes, right?
We
Episode
kind of already
1,
covered the first one on this show, so
Right.
just give me your quick recap of anything special you want to say about it.
I mean, the first one was amazing. Like, I did not expect. I knew we were gonna see, Boba Fett, but I didn't know we were gonna see it episode 1, which I was so.
No, it was.
I loved that. And then episode 2 is like, ugh, like what the hell was the point of even watching it? I was so disappointed in it.
Really? Well, yeah.
There was nothing happened. There was you could take that episode, throw it in the fucking garbage, and then go to the third episode and be like, yeah, that is it. Like they had a little trip to wherever they were going, and they had to stop because they were running away from X-Wing fighter pilots. And then they got an encounter with some, arachnids. The X-Wing fighters came back and saved them. And if you didn't watch it, that's Friday ago. So I'm sorry I'm spoiling this for you, but you got to watch it. And that was it. And then they just leave. And I'm just like, you could take that episode away.
Yeah.
And it
I don't even bother to do the spoiler warnings anymore. If you're watching this show, you got to expect spoilers.
I guess, in my feeling, when you're watching something as special as that, I want to walk away from the episode being like how I walked away from episode 1.
Well, here's what I think happened with this episode. And you're right. Nothing happened really.
Yeah.
And it was kind of just a filler throwaway episode, but it was directed by Peyton Reed, who makes the Ant-Man movies.
So
and I think it was, they were trying to show off Effect episode with the spiders. Yeah. And the whole shebang. I think they were trying to, maybe just.
Because of season 1.
Hello, Howard Wong. He says, but Appa.
Bob Salley, but Appa.
Appa.
Hey, Howard. Howard, congratulations on your first Source Point press book.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's out in Previews World right now. feel free to give it a plug in the comments. I'm looking forward to reading that. I feel like
shit.
Howard and I, when Howard and I were talking outside of, what's the bar that you drag us to at Fan
At
Expo?
an Elegant Weapons after Fan Expo dinner
Yeah.
and drink soiree. That happens at the Lucky Clover,
The
Lower
Lucky
Simcoe,
Clover.
beautiful
Howard and I
downtown
were
Toronto.
talking outside the Lucky Clover, and he was talking about working on something with Source Point Press, and now here we are.
Howard, I saw your message. I hadn't read it yet because I had a whole bunch, but he said, "What's up?" And I'm assuming Howard wants to get his ass on this show to talk about that. So we're gonna do that, Howard. We'll get you on, get your ass on here. Where you're over there right now? Are you here? Are you there? I always forget. I think you're over there right now. Are you here? Howard, it's hard because he'll be here or
He's
he'll
everywhere.
be there, right? Appa, the cameo from the Kim's Convenience guy. Do you know Kim's Convenience?
I don't.
Okay, it's this weird thing, and we're all very excited over in Canada here because there's a show called Kim's Convenience, and it's just like a CBC like sitcom, like Corner Gas was or whatever, right? And the lead guy on it, I can't remember his name, the actual actor, but he's like, the dad on the series. And he plays Appa, the dad, and he is the other X-Wing fighter with Dave Filoni in episode 2.
All right.
And so everybody's freaking out because this is local Canadian hero boy, right? And there is a connection. I can't remember, like the guy somebody on it he had worked with before or something. And also the guy who was cast in the Shang-Chi movie.
Yeah.
Is it Shang-Chi or Shang-Chi? I don't know. I never read that. You know the one I mean though, that Marvel movie, the Kung Fu guy.
I didn't hear anything about it.
Yeah, the new Marvel movie. He's like Shang-Chi. He's like the Fist of Fury fucking guy.
It must have been. When I have my kids, I watch Peppa Pig. I don't know anything of what's going on in the world.
This was a while ago that it was announced, but either way, he's on that show too, or was on that show, and he's from Mississauga. He's from my hometown.
Howard wanted to tell you that he is in.
Yes, I see that.
T-Dot.
You are in the T-Dot. That's right. I thought you were gonna be here for a while. It was a fun night. He's saying it was a fun night, Bob. Those nights are always fun. They're kick ass.
Yeah.
So so anyways, that was very exciting cameo for Canadians. But I think it was a chance to show off some effects and have some action and adventure. I think that was the reasoning behind it. Hey, we got Peyton Reed. That is his name, right? Peyton Reed? I think so. Peyton something.
I just felt, again, like, when you're ready, like Friday night, you're sitting down, you're ready to watch The Mandalorian, and you just want to maybe we're spoiled because I think season 1 was just amazing. And maybe maybe in season 1 there was episodes that were throwaway, but
well, here's what I think. When you look at when we know what's coming to a certain extent, right? And it's probably going to slowly build up to an end. But the moment for me was seeing Tamura Morrison at the end there.
Yeah.
And seeing Boba Fett and that visual connection between
oh my god, that was like I got goosebumps. It was amazing.
See his face, and it can be used like you could put Rex could be on this show, Commander Rex, right? Because we know how they recanonized it, so that weird extra who looked like him in Return of the Jedi actually is him.
Yeah, that's right. I heard about that.
So slap a beard on the dude, and he could also be playing. This guy could be playing multiple characters on this show.
Right.
It's absolutely fantastic. And they would be close enough in vicinity because he was tight with Rex was tight with Ahsoka, who's apparently going to be on the show. So I think it's going to have to build up quick if they, how many episodes are there? There's only like 8.
Yeah, I think there's
episodes, 8. Right? So you're right. Like to take an episode, especially this early, to do something this non-important, unless we're missing something, I don't know. But
I was waiting for like something to come out with the eggs. Like you find out like that Baby Yoda's like actually like these eggs were like horrible things, and Baby Yoda's actually saving them by eating them.
I totally felt
like I was
like that too, or they would do something to them, or
right, like
that's
better. What I was expecting it to go, and then when they flew off, I was kind of like, that was it. Like, all right, hopefully, yeah.
I don't know.
In the Mando, I trust. This is the way.
We gotta trust in it. So yeah, other than the action and excitement, yeah, plot wise or reveal wise, there's not tons to talk about. It was a weird episode, still an enjoyable one. And I mean, it is the fucking Mandalorian, right? So
Mandalorian.
it was badass, man. I can't wait for more. It's good times.
So
What else is going on out there? Are you just busy selling comics and writing comics, or anything else going on?
Me? I mean, I'm trying to write them. It's I move so I'm writing Broken Gargoyles, the second arc, which I'm going to be working on it with Christina Blanche is going to be co-writing it with me, and I have
Can't do anything by yourself anymore, eh? Like, remember before we were talking about what a team player you've become? Now you can't be alone. You're scared.
Well, you know what it is? It's so I mean, if we want to get into it, the way I had my issue with doing the 12 arc series, the 12 issue series, Salvagers, and I never wanted to do that again. And when Broken Gargoyles, I plotted it out for 9 issues, and each 3 issues is its own sort of story, that its own volume, if you will. I know how when that issue 4 comes out, people that had read issues 1 and 2 and 3, they might be more reluctant to get into that. Your sales go down, and there's 3 very predominantly female characters in the second arc, and I want to work with Christina because I just, as a writer, I like working with. When I worked with Sean Daly, I learned so much. Having Travis McIntyre edit Ogre, I learned so much. So Christina's a good friend of mine, and I wanted to bring in a woman to help me write it, to make those characters more authentic. And of course, just thinking Christina Blanche, I want to learn from her. I want to gain that experience from her. And I also want her to be on there and on it. And she was excited about it, and to give her something like that as well. So I'm writing the outline for it, and Drina Joe, my editor, she keeps asking for it. And I'm terrified because I'm just it sucks. I just want
say that about everything. We
right, but I'm not now I have to hand it to Christina Blanche to be hey, this is what I came up with. So I finally today.
I think Christina's going to be nice about it, at least. I'm sure she'll be honest yet gentle. Gentle, but you always say that every time you do anything, you're like, this is shit, or I was scared to give it to him because it's shit. I don't know. I've written 19 comic books and I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. When are you going to get to a point where you're kind of maybe this might be all right? Or does that drive you? Do you need that? Do you need to think you suck to work harder?
I think what it is I think when you're when I'm coming up with something, all right, perfect example. When I was doing this outline for the second arc of Broken Gargoyles, I'm reading it and I'm just I'm not excited about this at all. And I kept trying to fix it. And I just when I'd read it, I'd just be this is not I'm not into it. And as a writer, you're fuck, I'm not into my own shit. How's anybody else going to be into it? So, I just kept procrastinating. I kept put aside. And most writers, Mike Lilly is going to start working on it in 2 weeks. And it's only in outline form. I have to get Christina Blanche to help me write it in 2 weeks. So of course, I'm
Has anybody else seen it yet?
Drina Joe read it. So today I gave it to Drina Joe.
And what
basically
Drina
I was read this. That's what I said to her. I'm read this outline and just be honest with me. And she gave me the confidence that it's on the right track.
Drina, are you watching? Was it shit? Let us know.
She said she was going to tune in, but she's going on. She's got 4 kids that she's homeschooling.
I'm sure it's great, man. I'm sure it's going to be the usual wonderful fare that we're used to from you. You also boxed yourself in quick too. You've turned yourself into a production machine to an extent where you give yourself very short deadlines. Is that just because of the nature of the beast of wanting to keep comics rolling out, or does that help you?
So like Broken Gargoyles, this month is, what are we in? We just passed October. So
It's October, I think, or
yeah,
some
exactly.
shit.
So November. All right. So November was the release. So November, Broken Gargoyles 3 hit shelves at the end of October. So then issue 2 hit at the end of September. Issue 1 hit August. So November, December, it's going to hit previews. So the next book's going to hit previews, I think, in January or February. And I needed that break. Like I also was just thinking, like, I don't want to book in previews in, December or January. Or December and January. And I just thought, like, people are like, I'm shoving it down everybody's throat. I like, how about 2 months off where I don't have to sit there and be like, more of the same thing.
Right. Do you spend 2 days doing that though? And then the fear of not putting something out sets in where you feel like you're going to be forgotten about and you're not on the pulse?
I think in the beginning I did. In the beginning, I was like, I have to and I think it's like when you're self-publishing but I also think now, like, being with Source Point Press and having Source Point Press behind you, having Josh Warner, having Chris Tadlock, Travis McIntyre, Nolan, and all those guys, everybody working for Source Point Press, like, they're all pushing. I mean, we're not even in conventions, and I feel like Source Point Press creators are out there. Like, they're more on the social media forefront than anybody else, except maybe
what's
Ross
been
Ritchie.
neat about it? You mentioned Chris Tadlock, and there's folks like Chris and Elle, and it's neat because since it's had to go to a more online, are we on their page right now?
Yes, the fan page.
Yes, it's playing right now. Okay, this is what's great. I hope some people are hearing this. Is first it was an immediate switch of taking that, that personal, interaction that you get through the grind of being at the shows and somehow translating that to an online presence. And yes, your stapled creators have really been able to, expand on what they already had, because a lot of them, already had quite a presence, like you and Casey, but Casey Pierce, I speak of people, of course. And but it's amazing who's kind of taken more of a spotlight since the warehouse has had to become home. Now that the Oxeye Media, who, if anyone's unaware, is the, of course, parent company of Source Point, along with Deepwater Games and N3 Designs, is now there's this place that has had to become home for these certain people, all the people there in the warehouse, right? This core that are trying to keep this thing alive, this heart alive, that, have stepped up and now become, faces and personalities unto themselves, especially with Chris doing the Get to the Point show and everything.
Yep.
It's been neat to see that happen.
Auctions. Yeah, they're doing it.
Yeah. So it's Source Point, rather than going to the people, it's letting the people in. It's letting the people into Source Point's home, and it's letting them into the daily operations and running of, and seeing the interactions between most people. I'm sure not all the interactions. I'm sure there's a few stale moments that go on in there from time to time. But overall, it's such a cool environment to be hanging out in, and the rest of us are kind of holding on to it a little bit as like a connection. Especially me. I feel not just detached like everybody else does with the family, because we haven't seen the family for so long, but I'm also in another country and I'm stuck up here and I feel so far away. I mean, most of my friends are like 4 hours away. You're like an hour and a half flight fucking away. And I feel like I might as well be in Russia. I feel so far away right now. It's so depressing, man. Like, yeah, we're all like, I miss you. But I mean, I see no one. I've seen nobody.
Like, I miss human contact.
Yes, I have Sam Noir has been, he's been a companion that I've been able, because he's stayed in this good bubble of his own, and he's done pretty, a few of the raid guys, because the raid guys have been really careful. The raid studio went about this whole thing really well. When the shut down, nobody was in the studio for like ever. And it's the brand new studio. So the cool thing for Ramon Perez was he was able to take that time and really do the studio right because nobody was in it. Everybody's staying home. So he was able to be there himself and just, finishing up everything, getting it organized, set up, and this, and that. So, it's cool because that time came around, but now people are starting to trickle back in. Yet, a lot of people are getting tested and continuously and stuff, so it's really, really cool to see that happen. But so I've seen a few of those guys, but other than that, man,
Yeah, it's crazy.
You get
it is nice though. Like, I mean, so they've been putting a lot of videos. I know that they did their Halloween party at Oxide, like at their
right.
office.
Yeah.
So it's awesome to like see them all get together. I mean, I told Travis, I'm like, as soon as I can, like I'm getting a plane ticket and I'm flying to Michigan, Saginaw, coming in hot, like I want to hang out at the studio for a day and just be around those people again,
Yes.
So
yes.
But again, like
the
it's a team now. Like they've done amazing. Like when this whole COVID thing happened, I remember talking to Travis at one point and like, it seemed dire.
Yeah.
And now you look at it and it's like, it looks like this might have been a good thing, or
right.
It's not as bad. It's not as bad as maybe initially thought it was going to be. And, Travis is a genius. He knows he knows what he's doing, and nobody can ever say that he doesn't because the guy just keeps making gold out of shit. So
he took a shot. He took a ridiculous risk as usual, and it paid off.
And Perry's in the house.
Yeah, there's Perry. You're taking me too, boob. Yeah, Travis was like, I think part of the genius is the complete lack of hesitation.
Yeah.
No hesitation. Yeah. Oh, this is happening? Okay, we're doing this then. Like, there's no hesitation. He's like, oh, that's happening? What's the opposite?
By White Claw.
I'm
keep doing this until they actually do sponsor us. Tag White Claw, Source Point Press, brought to you by White Claw. What a refreshing drink.
What is White? Is that a beer?
It's a hard seltzer.
It's a hard seltzer. Of course it is.
I don't care, man. This is your fucking interview, so.
All good. Hey, man, I've been sucking on this thing forever. It must be a great sound effect for people. And excuse my disheveled look tonight. I'm a little unkempt. I did a massive 2-tree removal over the last 2 days over the weekend, and it was insane. These were some big trees, but those ends went down. Their ruins were smoted along the countryside. And, and then I worked today and I'm just a mess, man. I took tomorrow off because I got shit to do and I'm just taking a break and I'm going to go shower after this podcast and relax. But either way, so I apologize for the disheveledness. I threw on the old Slackers hoodie. It's 20 years old and falling apart, but I love it so much. It's that most comfortable hoodie in the universe hoodie. Everybody's got one of those, or at least most girls do. And it was usually some ex-boyfriends or an old school college shirt or something that they just keep for the rest of their lives. I tell you. What was I talking about before I went off on all that?
We were talking about the Travis McIntyre.
Oh, yeah. So it's the complete, like if something happens, he's like, okay, we're going the opposite way or we're flipping this. And yeah, it's always been, the immediacy that has impressed me with his decision-making. And I don't know if it's genius or ballsiness or stupidity or a combination of all of those things that creates his ability to do these things, but somehow he does them, man. And he, it's not, rocket science what he did, and some of the decisions they made. Like if you really look at it, Source Point went, okay, we got to take this special thing that we have at shows and we got to put it online. And that took just immediate action was the smart thing. A lot of companies dragged a little, and they also online, they still like to make their brand the face of things. Do you know what I mean? Whereas SourcePoint, even though now online is still the faces of SourcePoint are still the faces of SourcePoint, actual faces. And that hasn't changed, right? Where, when you look at other companies, maybe in the same level or smaller or a little bit bigger around there, you don't associate those faces with that outfit, right? There's not as much exclusiveness. So Source Point was able to take that and just flip it. And Travis instantly was able to say to himself, okay, well, that money that we had for that we don't have that for that money anymore. Let's put the money over here. And, 99% of the time, that fucking off the cuff flip decision turns out to be fantastic. But yeah, it was a little scary for all businesses at one point, not just Source Point or the comic industry, but, and the comic industry is still sorting itself out. But like you say, we are happy to report SourcePort's doing fine, and it's thanks to all the wonderful fans. It's thanks to the people getting involved. It's not just the family throwing the auctions, having the parties, doing the contests, all the exclusives. It's the people staying involved and being interested in it. And the fact that remains because it's good stuff being put out, and you were a big part of that, man. Everybody see this behind me right here.
That's the cover of issue 2.
One day, my finger, where
disappeared.
It's too far. I still got to figure out this green screen shit because I'm all like haloed. See, the closer I get, I think the better it is. I'll figure it out. Anyways, so Bob Salley, before all of this happens, I remember it was beautiful, like early spring day or something. When was it you fucking first sent me the PDF and said, "Hey, read this"?
Oh, you were one of the first people.
It was like spring or something, wasn't it?
No, it came out. Yeah, had to have been March or April.
So it was okay.
I feel like it was like around April.
Was it after C2E2?
Yes, I wasn't at C2E2, and then that's when everything came crashing down. Yeah, so
right.
Yeah. Right around C2E2 was when it was out, because I remember there was one comic shop that did an ash can. So it was, so wait a minute. It was, when was Baltimore? In October? It was done in October of 2019.
Right. So you sent it to me within the last year. You sent it to me because I was living in this place. Right. And I read this book, and I immediately told you that this was a game changer.
Yes.
That this was a level up situation. Holy fuck. Didn't even believe you wrote it. No, I kid. It was very impressive.
It was different.
It was an immediate evolution in your skill and craft. So we know that's going to come, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited for you, for the book, for the company, everybody.
Thanks, man.
You instantly know this is going to be big. And then quarantine hits and COVID hits. And, to have that book at a time like this, when a book like this is so needed, it just worked out so well. The timing, it's unfortunate in a way that you can't be out there, of course, signing this book for all the damn people and putting it in their hands yourselves, as we like to do, of course, is the biggest shame. But at a time when SourcePoint really needed something to, keep them there and bring them in and bring in more, you provided the thing that had a huge contribution to doing that, man. Like, for real. Like,
and it makes me feel good to hear that. And like you said, like you had plans for 2020.
Oh my God.
We talked about it, and when this book came out, I had plans, like you were, we thought we were going to be out and showcasing this book. It was going to be on tables, signing it and all that. But like anything, we have to adapt, and, having social media out there is, in this time, I think, I don't know what we would have done. I didn't kind of go into a hole. I didn't get in, I wasn't depressed thinking I'm not going to be able to get out there and do this. It was just more okay, how do I do this? I understood that there's probably going to be, the sales were probably going to be lower because some comic shops didn't make it.
Right.
Other comic shops weren't ordering as much. So, but it was just, I just didn't me down, and I just wanted to keep, it was almost like if I have 10 people to talk to about this book, then that's good enough for me. I'm excited about the book. and it was awesome. Like Travis just sent me an email the other day where a guy picked up Broken Gargoyles #1 at a comic shop, and he read it, and it made him pick up all the Source Point Press books at that comic shop, and enough to like tell him, send an email to, you know, source, like the website's email address, to say that. Like, just those are like the little things where you're like, somebody could read something and they could be like, that was awesome, put it down, never think of it again. But to take the time to look for an email address to send it to that comic, you know, label, like that's just the type of shit that just like,
This is the
that's
kind
your
of
home
shit I
run.
meant by level up, man. You got to
Yeah.
put out books that make people do that. And that's what you've done now. And, you know, you should be very proud of yourself, sir.
Thank you. And
It's
you
a
know what? And I am.
fantastic
And like,
book. It's so good.
yeah, hearing people like you say that makes me proud. But you know, I suffer from imposter syndrome, so
I think
it's
you
tough.
can let that go a little bit at this
I'm
point.
trying. I'm
Because,
working
you
on it.
know,
I'm getting better at it. I'm getting better at
Dude,
it.
can you imagine what I'm going through right now? Like, there's only so
When you
much.
chop down a tree, let me ask you, when you chop down a tree,
Yeah.
are you just like, fuck you? Like, do you cut it in a way that it's like, this is going to hurt? Like, this isn't going to be a clean, like, are you just taking it all out?
Sometimes,
You
absolutely.
just want to kick the tree down? Like, you're like,
oh yeah.
"Fuck the saw. I'm going
Sometimes.
to kick you down."
Well, sometimes I've okay, you know, I got like the spurs on my feet, right? When I'm like removing a
You just-
tree, I've got the spikes, and sometimes, oh yeah, they're going in hard. But it all depends on the situation. But when an arborist rages, they can rage. You know what I mean? Like, it's such a frustrating situation because if it goes wrong, it's gonna go really fucking wrong
Yeah.
a lot of the time. So
I
if
just
it's not,
imagine you as like Jean-Claude Van Damme in Kickboxer,
no,
just hitting
no.
that bamboo tree.
No, it's more a lot of it's more
J-Bo, thanks
Ralph
for coming.
Cramden, man. It's more a lot of like, you fucking slut cunt motherfucking, it's a lot more of that, right? The tree gets more of a tongue lashing than anything else. But it's a
Oh.
weird time for me, man, because I don't make comics yet.
Yet, wink, wink.
I'm having a lot of fun with a lot of stuff though. And you know, I've had this
David
thing
Bishop
going
in
on.
the house.
A lot of thing going on. We got the Bishop.
Yeah.
Watching Jay work is hypnotizing. I removed a tree for David at his house. I actually chopped down his cherry tree. So that was a lot of fun, and they were wonderful and hospitable. Thank you, Bishops. But yeah, so I'm in this weird time now because cons was it. Like, I did what, you know what I did? Like, I'm a podcaster, right? I got involved with SourcePoint years ago after meeting everybody and falling in love and becoming friends, and then wanting to help spread the word here up north. And, you know, we've accomplished a lot doing that. And I just try to do my little part. I'm like a cheerleader, you know, I'm a schmoozer. I'm a connector because I'm a talker and I love people and I love being around people. And that's my thing. That's where I fit into all this. And I know it's not the biggest deal. And, you know, but I do my part. I do what I can and I have a blast doing it. I don't expect anything for it. And, you know, and that's gone. It's gone. Like, it's not like I can sit here and concentrate on, okay, well, I'll just keep writing the comics. Eventually I'll be able to go back out and do it again. Like, I've gone to visit shops and I've done some schmoozing and I've taken free bundles and games to shops in the area, you know, and visited and tried to convince them to put more SourcePoint on the shelves. Very happily, surprisingly finding that there was more than I thought there would be on the shelves already, which is very cool.
Yeah.
By the way, Gotham Central sold the fuck out of Broken Gargoyles.
I
Like,
heard
a lot of them.
Yeah,
Like,
I heard they when
gone.
I heard they sold out and somebody said they ordered 60 comics, I was like, and then they reordered more. Gotham Central's like the Midtown of Canada.
At this point, he's pretty much, you know, it was Silver Snail for decades. Silver Snail was the shop, downtown Toronto, Queen Street, cool old building, history. You know, it was the shop of shops. Then Queen Street, which was very hip, and stuff, it got very trendy, and all the Gap type stores and everything started moving in there. So all the old cool shops where you got your docks and your vintage shit all went away, and the rent got too expensive. So Silver Snail moved from Queen Street to Yonge Street, Yonge and Dundas, which is like the Times Square of Toronto. And I think they're doing all right, but it's a much smaller place, and it's not the same vibe that it was there. Still great, still awesome shop.
Yeah.
They've got a little cafe in there, Black Canary, I think it's called. And in no way am I'm tracking back a second because I don't want this to sound negative, because it's a great shop, it's a historic shop. But I'm just saying, when it was at Queen Street, it was just this more natural situation, where it grew its reputation just from being the shop. But I'd have to say, to be honest, and it's probably been the push of comics getting so big that now we don't need to go to Toronto to find a comic shop. And there are three within a stone's throw away from everybody around. Is that
Raina just entered the house.
excellent? Is that, and Gotham Central filled the void to a certain extent. And Carlos came in, he did it big. He did it right. He did it huge, and he came in with a bang. And
Yeah, he's kind of awesome.
he's kind of amazing.
He's
Like,
kind
he's
of
just
awesome.
absolutely one of the most amazing people I know, hands down.
Yeah.
He's so supportive, and he loves this shit, and he loves you. He's a big fan of you, right? And
Yeah. No, we hung out at Toronto Comic Con.
yeah.
Yeah.
See, it's been great because you're part of this family too. You know what I mean?
Oh, I
You're
love
part of,
Toronto, man. I miss
you've been up
Toronto.
here so much and have been so awesome when you've been here. And I know you have a good time when you are here, and it's
Yeah,
always
maybe a little
great.
too good of a time.
No, it's perfect. It's good. Hello, Drina. Wonderful to see you this evening, my dear. But yeah, so that went away, and I was like, oh my God, what do I do? I took a sabbatical. I
Yeah.
took 4 months off, and I hiked. That's what I did. I hiked. And I was like, I got to figure something out. I got to figure something out. I was going to do all these things, and then I couldn't figure them out. I'm like, is anything ever going to come back? And it didn't look, still doesn't look like it. I might not be in America for years. Like,
Nah.
it's open ended. Like, nobody in this country wants that border open in any way. I think I may not see you guys until maybe not this coming spring, but the following.
We keep
So
looking up to see if you guys are building a
I'm
wall.
I'm shut down to an extent where I have to accept that dude, I may not see you for after this year, yet another year. It could happen,
No.
and it's going to kill me. So I have to focus, and I have to figure out, what do I do with my empty soul, right?
Maybe it's time for you to really dig in and start writing that comic book.
Well, no, I have been.
Get it. Let's get it done.
But here's the thing is, I'm having so much fun doing it, and it has helped so much that I'm in no rush. The process has been so much fun for me.
It
And
is. The
it's,
process is amazing. I gotta
yeah.
say.
Well, this
It's
is the part where I stopped talking about it and I just started doing it. So
yeah.
I've got a few things going on. Like, so, okay, here's my routine. It may be kind of similar to yours.
All
This is a
right.
typical day in the life of Jay these days. Is I wake up at 4:30 a.m. and I hit the gym for 5. And I'm at the gym for about an hour. I get back to my house about 6 or so. I maybe have a little breakfast or a protein shake, or I'll make my kids lunch. I'll chill out. Sometimes I'll draw him a picture before I go. I just don't like to be in a rush, so I have a bit of chill time, right? Then I leave for work at 7, and then I work till I get there like 7:30. I work till 3:30. And then I come home and I chill for a bit, and then I do whatever. I'll write or draw or hang out with the kid or do a podcast, right? And then I go to bed by 8 or 9 o'clock. Rinse and repeat. And often on the weekends, I'm hiking, and I hike. And that's what my life has become. And it's actually really nice, and I enjoy the things that I do, and I'm not overly depressed, but at the same time, there's a big hole. Something is lost because of that social connection that is just such a part of me. So everything I have is great, and I like my life, but I mean, that trying to find something able to fill the size of that hole that's there is a really difficult thing to do. So lately my thing has been working and, loosening up on things like the podcast. That's why I've been warning people lately. If you want to come on the show, that's great. If you got a Kickstarter, that's great. But we're not talking about it till the end of the goddamn show, or maybe naturally within there. With guys like you who are friends, it's maybe a little different. But it is peaceful, Drina. It really is. And but I just got sick of having the same conversation over and over again, because that's what I was having. I can only ask you what inspired your Kickstarter so many fucking times. And I've done it like hundreds and hundreds of times. I've just talked about the same thing. And I don't want it to get to the point where I don't find it interesting anymore. And I'm pretty much there, because I think the books deserve more than that. Like I get so many messages in inboxes from, it always starts with, "Hey, how's it going? I hope things are fine. So I got a Kickstarter." It's almost like this copied and pasted. And I love you people. I'm not, it's great. It's cool. I'm very honored. See, in a way I feel like a douche, because I'm very honored and proud to be part of the circuit. When people want to publish a podcast, or when people want to promote their comic or whatever, I am often on the list, and people are all the time recommending people to ask if they can be on my show. And it's awesome, but it's only hundreds. It's awesome, but it's also a certain amount of like guilt you have to carry around for how many people you have to turn down. Yeah. Or
you
not
feel
be
obligated.
able to talk
Somebody
to
sends
or
you a
reply,
Kickstarter and you feel obligated to share it, to
to
back
help
it,
out. Yeah. And I can't do that right now. I don't have the mental fortitude right now to be like that. So that's why I kind of revamped a bit. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going back to the old school ways that we used to do this podcast, when me and my friends would just sit around and fucking bullshit and talk about what we like to talk about. We did that for years. And then things got a little too promotionally considerate. You know what I mean? And I was losing a vibe for it. So, a new theme song, new view, new hangout. This is how we're doing it. I hope everybody's cool with it. And I'm also getting looser with having to try to put myself in holes, because I've always had this way where, one part of my life is trees, one part is comics, one part is family. And it's kind of like, you know what, fuck it, it's all one kind of big thing. Do you know what I mean? And I find most of the people are more interested in my tree shit than anything else I do. Which is ridiculous, right? Like I put a video of me cutting the top out of a tree on Instagram today, and right away I got like,
have you ever cut down a willow
views.
tree?
Many hundreds of willow
Those
trees.
are big trees, man.
They can get big, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
How about
they
a
can get
ficus?
enormous. A ficus? Okay, you got to remember, a lot of ficus won't grow here outdoors like year round. So I have pruned massive ficus, but they have been inside. So once I did a few in a mall, and once I had to do in this Catholic school foyer, where when you walk inside the high school and it's a big step, like staircase to the top, and there's this big ficus trees all growing so big they were like pushing against the sunglass, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I had to get up there, and I had to do it from this balcony because you couldn't climb these skinny fucking things. And I had to like snip out with a pole pruner and snip them back from the glass.
Just think, like there might have been a kid watching you do that,
and they were
being like, school. "Fuck school, yeah. I'm quitting school because that looks like the coolest thing ever. I want to do that. I'm done."
Yeah.
He went home that day and he was like, "Mom, Dad, I'm done."
Nice. It could happen, it's happened a lot. People like fall into it. Dirk Manning is in the house. Hey, Dirk Manning. How you like that? How instant is that?
Alert.
You like? Blend it like a stew. I think I don't give a fuck anymore. It's like, let the bar, like, what the fuck, man? I'm just gonna start having fun. That's all I exist for anymore, is to have fun. So, what the ficus? Yes. Drina Joe, I would come on just for tree tips. I've thought about doing tree podcasts, because there's a whole tree community I'm also kind of part of on Instagram, and this and that. But they're all, when it comes to perfection. Yes. When it comes to trees, the tree industry and arborists, it's an industry that is heavily populated by like hunting, hockey playing, beer drinking, pickup truck driving, camo hat wearing, beard toting individuals. I'm not really one of those guys. And it's weird to be me in my industry, to be a giant geek, you know,
Chopping down trees.
like I'm a ska music loving, comic book reading tree climber. It makes zero fucking sense. Podcasting tree climber, even. And it's all retarded. And I don't know, man. You try to do some different things over there, and it's not it's taken weird. They want you to fit that mold. You know, you're supposed to try to fit that
Supposed to
mold,
be
and
a
I never
big
fucking
ass
do.
lumberjack.
Hey, listen, man, I'm an ISA certified arborist. I've been doing this shit for 20 fucking years, and I know what I'm doing, and nobody can tell me fucking otherwise. And you know, they often try to. There's a lot of internal policing in the industry, and it's like, shut the fuck up and let's all just stay alive and do our jobs. But on the other side, it's way different, where the comic folk and the other folk, they all love it. They eat it up. It's all they want to talk to me about. And I just want to talk comics. When I'm at a Comic-Con, I want to talk about comics. And half the people are like, dude, I saw those trees things. Or wow, so you're like a tree. Like, it's always fucking trees. And I love trees, but I don't love them as much as I do fucking the Highlander. You know what I mean? Like
I mean, you're killing the trees. You're just
not all the time. The killing is not the main part. Clark breaking them. I don't know what's going on, man. See all this rambling you're experiencing right now, Bob Salley, is the state of me right now. I don't know. I almost
feel like I am now the interviewer and you are the interviewee. I'm liking this.
Ask me something.
I think
Bring
we just
it.
flipped it.
Ask me something. What else you want to know? Anything else interest you?
Everything. I mean, you know, the trees and everything are one thing, but so all right, when you go on these walks, when you go on these hikes, because you and I are single people. All right.
Yes.
And we became single. We were single people that had something to do on the weekends that we didn't have our kids. We went to cons. But then the cons stopped and we found ourselves the weekends without the kids. We had nothing to do. So what did we do? We started dating, right?
Yes.
But there's nowhere to go. So I, like you, I was not a big hiker. I went on some dates where the girls said, let's go for a hike. And I thought it was the most insane thing ever that a girl who doesn't know a guy would want to walk off into the woods with him alone. Right? So
right.
They did. They would be like, you want to go for a hike?
Okay. Well, for me.
So we're both the same person. We're hiking.
Yeah. I came about it differently in a way. I fell into it a weird way. So last February, just as about this was coming down, right? I was pretty depressed. I was not in a great place. And things were starting to get a little better, but you know, it still is a bad place. And I made a few decisions, a few, you know, life changes that I wanted to make. So I started getting healthier and losing weight and working out and walking a lot because my kid wanted to go on scooter rides at night. So I'd walk with him while he went along on his scooter. And the walks got longer and longer. And he got more and more tired of it because I kept wanting to go further. So eventually he dropped off and I just kept walking, right? So I'm going to tell you a little story about something cool that went down too. 23 years ago, I'm going to tell it. Mia's probably watching right now. I have a very good friend. Her name is Mia. And this individual and we dated 23 years ago. Long time ago, back in the St. Catharines days, my hometown where I was born and partly raised. Anyways, so I get a Facebook message out of the blue one day, and this was like last December, and it's her. And remember, I haven't talked to her in like 20 years, right? And she's like, hey, stranger. And you know how that comes up on Facebook occasionally, right? So we decided to meet up for coffee because why the fuck not? Been 20 years. Let's hang out. Let's talk. So we did. We actually went to this really cool place in Niagara region out there called the Watering Can. And this place was like a cafe / greenhouse. Okay. Dirk loves this. Yeah. And you know, it was very, very cool. And so we went and we had coffee, and then we decided to go for a little walk at this little old heritage conservation area called Balls Falls. So we went for a walk, and it was really cool. And I was like, man, because I'd been doing all that walking, but I hadn't done any walking, like kind of hike wise. I hadn't been out in nature really at all. You know, with what I do for a living with trees, my brain doesn't go to wanting to be in them more than I have to, kind of, you know. I'm really just used to them being there in a way because I pay them so much attention. So then COVID hits, and because we were talking about like, oh, this is fun, let's do some more hiking, let's do some more walking, right? And then COVID hits, and we can't because we're quarantined and we're shut down. But we'd been doing walking on our own. So she keeps walking and I keep walking. And then finally things kind of settle down a little bit. And we finally get to the point a couple months later where we could, you know, we'd been bubbled enough and everything that we could walk together. So that's when it was on. And that's when her and I kind of became like addicted to the hike. Also, what didn't help the situation was other people were starting to do this because of quarantine too, right? So another individual, big shout outs to Crystal, cosplayer Crickle, Canada Wonder Woman. She's got a few of them and a brand new one that I had to hand in, Beautiful Chaos Doodle Art, I believe. Anyways, she was a hiker as well and a camper, and I'd been already hanging out with her from the last winter. So she was all talking about walks, but me and Mia, we went hard. We were like, okay, let's hike. And we started going, and we did the Laura Secord Legacy Trail. That's a whole other podcast. And then that started bleeding into camping. So I basically spent the entire summer in quarantine hanging out with this old ass friend, getting to know her again. And we just started hiking and camping and doing all that awesome stuff. And that's pretty much how I filled the time. And we both lost a tremendous amount of weight. You know, and we both are still hanging out and walking all the time.
That's awesome.
And yeah, and that's how I got into it, man. That's how my hike started and got to the point where it is now. So I'm 64 pounds lighter. She is, I believe, 45 pounds lighter. Like, if that's even possible. I don't even.
How is it even possible that you're 64 pounds lighter?
I went from 210, or it's like 65, I think. I went from 210 to 150. Right now I'm 150.
210.
Say again?
I can't imagine that you were 210.
I got big, man. I was even looking at some pictures. Jimmy McKnight interfering with my podcast. That's what he's doing right now. He's interfering with the podcast.
What's he doing?
He's sending me pictures of his new podcast studio. Is what he's doing.
I miss Jimmy McKnight.
Hold on, let's see.
Like
let's
one of
see
the
what we
first
can do here.
podcasters that I ever met. And
let's see what we can do here. I don't.
He and I had a whiskey at C2E2. He was like one of the first people that I knew online, like on social media, that I actually sat down.
Bob, hold on, be quiet for a second. Jimmy.
Yo,
how's it going, man?
good. How you doing?
Yeah, you were just started sending me pictures of your coming together goodness there of that studio there, and you happened to catch at a time when I happened to be talking live with Mr. Bob Salley here, and Bob had to say, "Oh, Jimmy, I haven't seen the Jimmy in so long too. How are you, Jimmy?"
Doing great. How's everybody doing?
We're doing all right, man. We're just talking about all this getting through nonsense and how we've been coping and all that hiking bullshit I've been doing and stuff. How are you holding up these days?
Doing well. Staying busy so I don't go crazy with everybody else. I just stick in my own projects and kind of like separated from all that outside world shit because it's crazy right now and I want no part of it.
Yeah, best way to be. Just keep the helmet flipped down, right?
Right, dude. I'm like, home studio project sounds great. Let's do that.
While I got you on the line here, quick, go ahead and give that shameless plug. You got something special coming soon, Jimmy. What is it?
Yes, January 4th, 2021, the debut of my brand new podcast, McKnight Show.
That's super cool, man. I can't wait to hear that. You're kind of going to be doing it the way we've been hanging out a little bit more around here, where it's not welding specific, it's not anything specific, it's only McKnight specific.
Exactly.
Awesome. All right, cool, man. Well, sorry to interrupt there, but I saw you were sending things that were interrupting me. So it's great to hear you, man. I'll call you soon and we'll chat.
Sounds great, man.
All right. Take care, man. Peace.
Take
Here you go,
love it.
man.
I
Little
love it.
popped appearance by the Jimmy McKnight. You should all check out the McKnight podcast when it comes around. That's the way. You see, I just don't give a fuck anymore. Let's just play with all this shit. I got a green screen. Let's see. You want to see something? Where's all that shit here? Oh yeah, it's under the video. I'm still learning how to do all this crap, kids. I've been podcasting for 9 years, and then you go and throw video in the mix. Of course, I'm gonna have to learn how to kind of play
Adapt,
with it,
man. You adapt. That's the thing. That's the gig.
right?
Yeah.
We got this is from shows past. This one kind of would have been appropriate there, as we had discussed the
Gotta flip it.
Mandalorian. Yeah, I know. See, that's the thing. I'm all screwing up. Everything's getting. I'm flipping things
Flip.
wrong, right? Like, is that right?
Like that. Nope.
No. How about this one? No.
Yeah,
No?
there you go. Oh, yep.
What?
There you go.
This
You know
one?
your head. Nope. Back the other way.
What? This one?
That way. And
Why
now
can't I gotta unmirror my image? See, I don't even know. Here, we're gonna take that away, and we're just gonna go with grass. No, that's too bright. Space.
Space is good.
Space is good, right? Looks like my thing's knocked over there.
I
Oh,
don't know how to do mine.
you go to a virtual background, man. It's easy.
Yeah, I don't know how to do it.
I just have to master the mirroring thing because that's what I always end up screwing up. You know what I mean? Space is good. Let's hang out in the space area. Yeah. So you don't watch Discovery, do you? Star Trek Discovery. You should watch that show, Bob. It's really good.
I mean, there's a lot of things that I need to start watching.
Yeah, we all do.
Having
Right?
the kids as much as I do. Again, it's Peppa Pig. It's that's what it is. There's
lucky.
so many I can't begin it. There's Chip and Potato. There's Ben and Holly. Like I can't even tell you. Like, and I'm just like, if the kids find something that they both mutually like, it's like that's gold. It's like thank freaking God.
So why don't you
But
try?
usually, it's one wants to watch one thing and one wants to watch the other.
How old are they?
My daughter's 7 and my son is 4.
Okay, so she's on the cusp. She's gonna really start watching shit soon that he's gonna have zero interest in.
Right. And
He's as well break the mold, man. Okay, my kid was 7 or 8 when he saw his first Jason movie. And
I mean, I've been trying to get them into like Star Wars and the Marvel movies. Right now, they're in that age where if they see a human being, they're like, I don't want to watch it. Like it's got. And then if you show them a cartoon, it's got to be like Pixar.
Well, why don't you try? My kid's anime obsessed right now.
Yeah,
you should like throw some Naruto in there.
She just got into Pokemon, and then next thing I know, she's like, "Yeah, I don't watch that anymore."
Oh, you know what might get them going? Actually, what me and my kid are watching together right now, and I never realized people would go on about this show so much, but Avatar: The Last Airbender. I never understood. People here, I kept hearing how beloved this show
I heard
was.
it's amazing. I've never watched it. I heard it's amazing.
I didn't get why. I was like, it looks whatever. I saw the movie. Movie was kind of cool. I like the idea behind it. And I started watching it. It's brilliant.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
It's amazing.
Right now, the both of them are into going on YouTube and watching these 3 knuckleheads that live in a house together just destroy their house constantly. It's called Unspeakable.
Okay.
And I at first, like, I'm just like, this is the dumbest thing ever. And then after a while, like, I'm just like, I know them now. And then they put an episode on. I'm like, what are these guys going to do today? And then they fill their house with freaking balls. And, they basically have a ball pit in their kitchen, in their living room. And and I'm thinking, like, if there was video and there was all this when me and my buddies were growing up and we were that age, we'd probably have a house and do this too. And it would the police would come. But that's what they like to do. They like to watch that. So if that's what, I'm like, go ahead, put it on.
I don't know, man. They're going to split soon, though. It's going to be difficult to.
Yeah. But we have the Switch. My son and I will play Mario Kart, and my daughter will play Fortnite or whatever the next thing is.
My kid is finally, you know what? He's really getting off the Fortnite, and I'm kind of
they'll come up with something else.
Well, I'm kind of like, when I look at the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars that we spent
On skins.
and shit like that, it's like
That's like buying Infinity War when you were on Comcast and then you move to satellite TV and you're like that $20 Comcast. Now I gotta buy Infinity War again because it's gone with my Comcast.
Do you have cable?
I do.
I got rid of cable years ago. I don't miss it at all, man.
Yeah, but I watch football. Like I mean,
What is this? So like, what does that mean?
Like,
so what, you have to have it for football?
Yeah, you gotta have cable for football.
I'll never understand football.
Yeah, so you have to have cable. It's a 16 billion a year industry because of fucking cable and popcorn and Bud Light.
See, the thing about football is, well, I guess I could kind of look at it in a hockey way, but all this election stuff happened and Twitter was crazy, right? But the second there's a game of any kind, it just takes it over. Like everything else shuts down. Nothing matters. All this presidential.
Well, it's unity. You know? It's like Republican, Democrat, left, right. Like if you root for the Leafs, I love you. Like I don't give a shit who you voted for. You know, we're Leafers. And that's the beautiful thing of it. Everything stops for that 3 hours.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
So I'm just reading some of these comments here. Dirk Manning just finished season 1. Season 1 of what?
Mandalorian. He's catching up.
Avatar.
Or Avatar.
Or Avatar. What time is it? How long have we been going talking about nonsense
for over an hour?
That's pretty good.
Football's on. The Patriots of New England are playing the Jets.
But they suck now without that guy, right? Isn't that what happened? Didn't that guy go? And now
that is the greatest thing. That is the most Canadian thing that has ever been said about American football. That was great. They suck now without that guy.
But
you're speaking of Tom Brady, who a lot of people up this way consider the GOAT, which is an acronym for greatest of all time.
So listen, Belichick, right?
Yeah.
It's been this like legendary thing for a few years. It was their combo, right? Like them together.
I like that you just said a few years. 20 years.
The 20 years? I don't know this shit.
20 years.
Either way.
Again, you're saying the most Canadian. So they, Belichick, Brady, they were together for a couple years. 20.
People always considered it like their magic together. That was probably the real magic. But now who's he playing? Who's Brady playing for now?
Belichick couldn't win games without Brady,
and who's Brady playing for now?
He plays for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
And apparently, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are increasingly improving.
Well, they're doing better than the Patriots. But Tom Brady just got his ass kicked last night. Oh, we're bringing him in.
Is he coming through? Oh my gosh. Look at that face right there. Look at that beautiful face.
We got the audio. No audio. You're on mute.
You're on mute.
You muted
Did you just pop in so we could admire your disheveled nonsense? Is that what's going on? Why is he muted?
We can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
There we go.
Hey! There, yeah.
I got to working out. I got a ton of shit to get done. I jumped in for one reason. And that's because, well, two reasons. One, Bob.
Oh, look at this shirt you're wearing.
Right? You're wearing the Dirk shirt and I'm wearing the Jerk shirt. See? No, this is a the pharmacy in Brooklyn. It's an ice cream shop.
Oh, so cool.
I installed Zoom on my phone just for this.
Okay.
One, Bob, again, thank you so much for the forward.
You're welcome.
For Beard But Not Dead.
Thank you, and thank you for asking me. I couldn't.
No,
have,
I,
come on.
but here's the other reason. I've been meaning to post this picture and I have not yet.
Oh,
Thank you.
Ooh.
look at those puppies.
Signed Broken Gargoyles. So good. And I got to post a picture with you soon, and I will. But thank you.
I owe you variant covers too, but I have not gotten any. I don't know if my Source Point Press contract gets me comps of the variants. I'm gonna have to touch base with one. See, there you go. You got them. You already got
Oh,
them.
wow.
Variant covers, you
great,
think?
I don't even
hold on.
have those.
Hold on, Bob. Hold on. I want to show you how much I like this book. So, hold on. And just to show you, here, I just got to move these little cards off of here. So you guys don't see my business. Look at now, these were within reach. You got that one. Right. I've got
Wow.
this one.
That's the Josh Warner. I love that.
That's super cool.
I don't know what
that
you're
one,
thinking.
yeah.
What about the one with the logo? I got that one too.
And that
Then,
logo is
Jesus
just amazing.
Christ.
The logo, and then you got the Fosgit.
Got the
Fosman.
Fosgit.
and of course, I had to get them the unmarked positive.
Yeah.
Wow.
So these are all within reach. Like that is not a setup. They were sitting right here. You know, it's not like, oh, I gotta go scramble, get out my Broken Gargoyles book. No, man, that was legit. No, the book is awesome.
I appreciate it.
No, man, I appreciate
More to
you.
come. More to come. Nervous
can't
about
wait.
it, as we were talking about
I can't
earlier
wait.
about it, but more to come. A lot of work. Drina's
I've
keeping in mind. Drina is a gift from Dirk Manning.
Shit,
I
Drina is a gift from God herself.
that is more accurate.
It's like she was a gift from Dirk to me. So I was just talking to her on my car ride home, and you know, not only is she an awesome editor, but she has turned into an amazing friend as well. So
No, man, it was my pleasure to connect good people, you know, and Broken Gargoyles is kicking ass. I look forward to more of it, you know, and you've been on fire, man. You've been on fire.
Trying.
And
Well,
you're
you
one
know
of those,
what? When I got like you asking me to do forward, it just things like that. I think as a creator, like you know how it is. It's like you start feeling like you're doing something. You know, you feel like you're doing something, and that kind of shit keeps you busy. You know, and like I had this. So Dirk asked me to do a forward for his most recent book coming out, and I've never written a forward before. So, but I was
You
saying,
must think it's probably shitty, as
well,
most things you write.
so like I said to Drina, like I was scared, like I carved out a whole weekend to write this forward because I'm just like I didn't want to like send it to Dirk, and Dirk's like, I wish I would ask somebody else.
oh shit.
So,
I asked you that because I was honored to have you do it, man.
And I did it, and like I sent to Drina, and she like, I mean, just like an editor should, she takes something and just polishes it. And you know, Dirk sent it to me. I'm not allowed to share it with anybody, but I sent it to some friends of mine that are not within the comic world because I was like, this is a big deal for me, and I need somebody to see it. So I appreciate it.
Oh, right on, man. Well, no, thank you. It meant a lot to me, Bob. You know, you've been kicking ass. You've been a soldier for Source Point, and just to see from where we met to where you were to where you are now is
we were
is
talking
awesome.
earlier.
I'm just super excited for you.
Thank you.
We were talking earlier, Dirk. I don't know if you were tuned in. This was quite a bit ago, but yeah, just when Source Point would need something like Broken Gargoyle, Bob provides it. You know, like I remember when he first sent it to me before all this nonsense, and I knew it was a level up. We talked about it, how this was an absolute game changer, you know, which we, you know, of course we turned out to be right. But and it probably would have maybe been bigger in a different type way if Bob was able to be out there putting it in people's hands and, you know, personally promoting it and signing it. But just when Source Point would need something like this, it's got to feel great, you know, to, you know, have been able to provide something for the company to focus on, you know, selling and stuff, and something popular that people enjoyed. So it's pretty rad, and he should be very proud of himself.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you raise a good point, Jay.
Every once in a
Yeah,
while,
and I don't know.
give myself the privilege.
Not that Source Point, was doing like crazy horribly. As we know, things have gone well and been a huge success. It's The Hobbit.
Right.
Well,
but it's interesting, Jay, that you bring that up. And oh, Bob, I don't know how you feel about this, but by the time we get back on the road, I think it's probably not going to be until late 2021 at this point. I think we're close to a year out, right?
Yeah.
But I'm already thinking about how much different my table is going to look with all the new books I'll have by then. And Bob, I think you the same way, because you got Shelter Division.
I'll have Salvagers books. Hopefully, the third Salvagers book.
Right.
I'll have both Ogres books, Shelter Division, Broken Gargoyles.
Right, man.
So like we were talking about how Travis took this trying time and he turned it into a positive for Source Point Press, and I think that some creators could you kind of go into a bubble and kind of go into a shell and be like but I felt like I want to take this time to try to do the things that I can do online, work on the projects, build more projects, and figure out how to do that. And who's doing it amazingly is Greg Wright.
Greg's also kicking ass. Totally.
Oh, freeze up on the Bob.
Oh, I know. Well, see, that's what happens when you compliment Greg Wright. That's what happens.
See, you bring up Greg Wright and things get all funky.
Things get wonky.
Thank you, Greg Wright, for making things all funky.
No, but Bob's right. Greg's another guy. He's got Claim out. He's kicking ass on that. It looks
so good. It looks awesome.
Oh my God. And what's going to happen is guys like Bob and hopefully myself and Greg and people that have not been giving into the uni of what's going on and doing the work, it's gonna pay big dividends in 2021. You've been doing the same thing, Jay. You've been reinventing a lot of what you're doing and stuff like that. And then come 2021, we're just gonna be in a really good spot.
Yeah. I don't know what I am right now. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know. My life is so weird. My Bob Salley conversation just turned into an exclusively Dirk Manning situation. Wait, what's he saying?
I didn't mean to. You invited
his power
me,
went out.
and I've owed Bob a shout out.
Well, no, I'm glad you're here because his power went out.
His power went out?
That's what happened.
Shit,
I see.
man.
Yeah. I got you. All right. Well, you know what? It's time for bed anyways. Dirk,
there you go.
Thanks for popping in though. It's always see you, brother. We'll have you back on. We'll do this again soon. And I hope everybody's cool with the new vibe because I just don't give a fuck. And
listen, Jay,
it's a slack and
so
groove.
much.
I'm sorry if I hope I'm not. I don't want it to seem like I'm turning my back on anything because I still love all y'all comic creators. You're still welcome to come on the show. We'll talk about your shit, but I can't just exclusively do that anymore. We need to talk about some other shit. We need to get this stuff popping.
Jay, you're a soldier for the comic creator community, and you do so much for so many people. But you're right. You can't just keep asking the same thing. It's time to mix it up. And we appreciate everything you do, man. I appreciate it.
You know what? Actually, maybe you and I should do soon is we should do a podcasting Kickstarter type little how-to situation because
I did that with someone.
Handle it now, and it's
yeah, man.
We can give some good advice as far as when you go on a podcast, be prepared. You can't just go on there and be an interviewee. Be prepared to go on there and have a conversation and have some ideas of where to take certain things and maybe think of subjects that could be built off your book that aren't, typically obviously there. I don't know. We'll figure something out. But
no, I did something like that with someone else years ago, and that may have been lost to the ages by now. So totally, man, we could totally do something.
You have especially with you got Right or Wrong too getting all updated because that's got a new chapter about podcasting and promoting and type stuff in it, does it not?
No, but yeah, and let's chat. We can do something.
All right, excellent.
I'll talk to you. I just like getting a chance to catch up with you, brother. So
it's anytime. I'm so happy to do it as long as I'm not in the woods. I'm available for a chat most of the time. But thanks, Bob, for hanging out, man.
Yeah,
That was a good long time. Thank you for morphing into Dirk Manning here. But kids, fun times, good times. I hope you're all safe. I hope you're all happy. That's all we're gonna have this week on An Elegant Weapons. So you know what you gotta do. You gotta take it easy. Just take it easy. I'll get
See ya.
this timing down right at some point. Sometimes. See, and I'll remember to put the volume back up on things too.
At least you didn't have the mute on the whole time.
Right? At least I'm starting to remember. But I've been sitting here sucking on a THC pen for an hour and a half. All right, kids. Love y'all.
See you, Jay.
Back it is.